So first of all, we after the game, Chancellor Roberts and the team dedicated the game and the ball to Mitch, who's been with the team for a long time. He's been a really inspirational person for us, and of course I've only known him since I've been here, but he's been surely an important part of this team and through the years, and so. Just want to make sure that everybody realizes how important he is to us and how he was recognized by the team after the game. And we dedicated the game to him, and he got on the iPad and talked to us afterwards, and he's fighting, and we're praying for him, and just all want to wish him well and let him know how much we're behind him. But as far as the game goes. It was a real good team effort today. Thought we got good plays out of all three units. Our special teams, stopped the fake punt, gave us some good field position in the kicking game, field goals. Offensively, we got a couple of big plays, scored some points, and defensively, the goal line stand was a big series for us, and turned the ball over, scored on defense. So it was overall good solid effort. Certainly a lot of things we can still work on and do better. There's no question about that. We left some plays out on the field. You give Richmond a lot of credit. That's a good football team. They're very well coached. They got a lot of good players. Fortunately for them, some of them did play today. They had about 4 or 5 of the best players, so we're banged up, but it's a good football team. We saw how hard they fought all the way to the end. And give Coach Usman a lot of credit for the job that he's done there. They're tough football team. So. Good to win, and hopefully we can still continue to improve each week with good solid practices and preparation. It's a big challenge this week going down to Orlando, but looking forward to it.
On the right, your front row, Coach.
Yes.
Coach, Andrew Jones, Starters 24/7. What do you like that you've seen from your interior defensive front the last couple of weeks? Progress that they've made in the last few weeks.
Second half of the TCU game, this was tough. We kind of got banged around a little bit there. We've done a better job of defeating blockers and, holding line of scrimmage, playing with better technique. Coach Diaco, Steve, Ty Nichols, those guys have really done a good job with the front the last couple of weeks. And players have worked hard to, improve. It's right about fundamentals. There's no, secret sauce. And you got to line up and be able to defeat the blocks in front of them. We did a much better job of that today.
As a quick follow-up, with the drought period that you guys have extended into the season, do you think you really know that group really well now?
No, you find out more every week. So, like I said, this is a big challenge for us this week. These guys, Richmond has a really good running game. Quarterback's a big part of the running game. He's about 50% of it in the backs. Today they used a kind of a new formation with their 2 backs and 3 receiver sets instead of the tight end that they had. So they had some different formations and motion on that caused us to make some adjustments to it. But they did a good job of that, and we tried to adapt to it as quickly as we could. But it's been an improvement every week. But there's still a lot of things we can do better. We tackle better, which obviously is a big help too.
Second row, right in the middle.
Hey, Coach, speaking about Damon Jr.'s performance, he was awesome tonight. 148 yards, the most by a freshman running back in 8 years. What do you have to say about his performance and also his maturity living up to the moment?
He's earned it. He's earned it. Nobody gave him anything, and he started at the bottom of the depth chart and just kind of worked his way up. And he's had some opportunities, and has done pretty well with them. But he's made some yards on his own, and that's a big thing. The plays are blocked for a certain amount of yards, whatever they are, 5 yards, 6 yards, 2 yards. And then we're going to back in on his own after the first contact or after he can make that first guy miss. And the short yardage play was really a good run. We didn't really block it that well. There were 2 unblocked guys in or near the hole, and he made a miss and turned into a long run. So, he's doing a good job with the ball in his hands and got him on that screen pass. That was a big play too to set up the score. So, he's done a good job in running and catching.
Front row on the right here, Coach.
Hey, Bill West, top starter 24/7. Out of Jordanship, it feels like he can do just about everything on the field for you guys, and it seems like he's established himself as almost a security blanket for Gio. What have you seen out of him? Would you agree with that? What have you seen out of him for these first couple of games, and then just today specifically?
Yeah, Jordan's done a really good job for us in all areas. First of all, he's smart. He can play all positions. He plays the F, the Y, the X, the Z. He's an excellent blocker. He's tough. You know, he can match up on the DBs with his length and his toughness. So in some of the perimeter plays where we get the ball outside, he's a nice job blocking. And he has been a good route runner on a lot of different things, crossing patterns and cuts, possession patterns, and he's done a good job with the ball on his hands after the catch. So excellent red area receiver. We try to keep him out there as much as we can.
Far right.
Rob Baxley, Fable Observer. Have you seen enough from the guys the last 2 weeks, offensively, defensively, to where you think they'll have more confidence returning to power forward competition since the TCU game?
Well, yeah, I hope so. I mean, we'll see. We'll see next week, but we'll just go through the preparations for Central, and it's another good football team. I know Scott does a good job down there, but we'll have to, gear up for what they do, and they've got a lot of skilled athletes. They get the ball in space a lot, and defensively they've got some explosive guys we're gonna have to handle. So, we'll find out.
Second row in the middle here.
Yeah, Brian Orphans, WRL. How do you evaluate against competition that you played the last 2 weeks and then try to scale that up for a game against like a Central Florida or TCU? How do you?
Yeah, well, I mean, again, Charlotte and Richmond have a lot of good football players. I mean, those are good programs, and especially Richmond. I mean, they've been at the top of their division, the last several years, and played for championships and all that. So, but look, we just keep working on doing what we can do to work to get better, and I feel like we've made some improvement. But yeah, we'll see what happens next week when we play somebody else. I don't know.
Right next to him.
Shelby Swanson with the News and Observer. Coach, just how would you evaluate Gio Lopez and his performance through 3 games, things that you think he's done well so far, and maybe some areas for improvement?
Yeah, well, again, I think we're getting more comfortable with him. He's getting more comfortable with us. There are things that he obviously does really well, and we want to try to feature those. There's some other things that we need more work on, and some timing and things like that. But he's done a good job protecting the ball. He's done a good job making decisions in critical situations for us, and so that allowed us a chance to win. So we had a turnover at the end of the game today, but really prior to that, another turnover-free game from the offense, and that goes a long way to winning.
Second row far left.
Adam Smith, Inside Carolina. Bill, you had the second half shutout last week at Charlotte. This week the goal line stand, Bayer with the scoop and score on the fumble return. Would you say that this defense is maybe showing an ability to focus and lock in more throughout the course of a game? Like, what have you seen from you guys defensively to allow you to have some of these second halves where you play pretty well defensively?
Yeah, well, I think it starts in practice. When you make fewer mistakes in practice, communication is better. There's more awareness and more alertness to those kind of plays. Then you play better. And so Richmond had they tried to throw a double pass over in front of our bench. They kind of bobbled the ball, but we were on that. So double pass. They threw a couple shots down the field. Dawson had a tremendous catch on that ball down the sideline, but we covered the deep ball pretty well with these guys, and they're an explosive team across the 50-yard line. They take a lot of deep shots, and so we held up on those. But again, it really comes from consistency in practice. If you practice consistently, then that'll show up in the games, and if you don't, then eventually it won't. So we'll keep stressing those things in practice. Our communication's better. Playing with each other, starting to get a better feel and anticipation for the way we can play off each other and so forth, and hopefully it'll continue to improve with each week. That's our goal, is just keep getting better every week.
Left front row, coach.
Yeah, Jeremiah Holloway with Inside Carolina. Bill, I wanted to go back to Demond. You talked about what he did tonight specifically. You also mentioned he was one that kind of worked his way up the depth chart and things like that. Observing him in practice and then obviously seeing it take shape in these last couple of games, what makes his style of running, I guess, so effective for you guys out there?
Well, I mean, he's a strong one-cut runner. There's not a lot of dodging when he gets the ball. He just he hits a crease and it can accelerate through it with some power and try to bring down an arm tackle. He can step through some soft tackles. So. That's his style, and if he can just continue to play to that, if we can create some creases for him. We saw it last week in Charlotte, and again today. I think that that's how it can be effective. I mean, this is we're not talking about Gale Sayers here. I mean, this isn't like a scat back, jig bug kind of guy. But he can hit it and go, and that's what he does best. So, hopefully we can get him in that situation.
Two more, front row on the left.
Bill, Aiden Jensen, Tar Heels Wire. Going off of Adam's question, focusing on the defense, Melkart really showing he could be a leader on your defensive line. Had a huge day, 2 sacks. He had that fumble recovery. What can you say about his performance and with Price coming back later, how Melkart can lead that unit and help create success and consistency leading that unit throughout the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think Melkart's been a great story for us. Came to us in Delaware and kind of, wasn't that big of a transfer coming in, but just kept getting better and better and better and better every day all through the spring. He had a good spring. By the end of the spring, he's probably our most productive defensive lineman. Of course, we didn't have Leroy at that point. He was still out. And then he just continued to build on that through the off-season and training, and when we got to training camp. So, he's just put a lot of consistency together, and that's a guy that you can count on to come in and work hard, do the right thing almost every single day, every single time. And he's earned a lot of respect and trust from his teammates, obviously, and the defensive coaching staff, and certainly the head coach. But it's really been impressive. He's just improved so much in every area. His pass rush, his run defense, his playing space, his ability to stunt and run games. It just keeps getting better and better. And it's the kind of guy that you just love to work with because he continues to improve and just can take those little fine coaching points and continue to move him and make him be effective for his game.
Last one, second row on the right.
Hey, Bill, Jeremiah Tasha, Charles on that side. Going back to Demond June, what are some things or conversations you have had with him to give you confidence out there on the field?
Look, the confidence comes from performance. We can talk confidence all we want, but until you go out there and do it and show that you can do it, it's just, it's still not there until you can actually produce it. So, everybody has confidence in him and try to encourage him and all that, but when you go out there and make those plays in training camp and practice, and then in practice as we've gone through the season, and get a few more reps, and really that's kind of how you work your way up. Is you get a few plays, you do pretty well with them, you take advantage of them. You get a few more, you get on special teams, you show you can do something there, and that just leads to other opportunities. And so I've had a lot of players like that. The Troy Browns, the Julian Edelmans, the Rex Burkheads, the guys like that they just keep doing stuff and it grows on you, and you keep putting more on them, and then they keep showing up and producing. So to this point, he's continued to make good progress. Can't let today go to his head. I mean, he's still got a long way to go, but he's got a great future. If he can keep doing the same things he's been doing to get to where he is, then he's got a chance to, grow and develop. If he stops where he is, I don't know I don't know how far that's going to take him, but so far he's been really persistent about that, and that's what we need.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.